Well, we're up here again in the Texas Hill Country. It's a beautiful spring day here in Texas. Going to do something a little bit different today, or at least I hope to. I'm just giving you a little look around here. Decided to bring a rifle up here I haven't shot in quite a while. It's one of my more unusual rifles. And it's right here. It's model 1941 Johnson. One of the supposed competitors, but not really, for the M1 Garand. It came along a little bit too late to be a bona fide competitor to the M1, but it was, I think it was probably envisioned as possible a substitute if everything didn't go along well with the Garand. I've had this rifle since sometime in, I believe, the 1980s. It's a fairly unusual rifle in the sense that it's recoil operated, and we're going to shoot it a few times today. I've never shot it. I've shot it, but it's been a number of years ago. It has a couple of unusual features, not the least of which is the fact that it is recoil operated, and the fact that it has this rotary, or what I guess you call it a rotary or a spool magazine, and it takes 10 rounds. The magazine will take 10 rounds. The other thing is it uses, or it can use 1903 Springfield stripper clips to load it through the loading gate here. This one, we're going to shoot it a few times with some of this full metal jacket. Let's see, it's not focusing very well here, but M2 ball ammunition. It works in my M1 Garands, one of my M1s. So I assume it should work with this Johnson rifle, since let's face it, if it had any hope of being accepted as all for substitute use, it better work with the same ammunition that the 30-06 and all the other machine guns and whatnot that the U.S. was using at the time used. So anyway, so we're going to give it a whirl here. The other thing is I'm going to, assuming it works with the ammunition, I'm going to put the bayonet on it, and we're going to try shooting it with the bayonet, see if it actually operates. The rifle, since it's recoil operated, it was very sensitive to the weight of the barrel. And if the barrel weighed, if a bayonet was attached and it weighed too much, it would fail to cycle. So they came up, this kind of unique looking bayonet was developed. This is not an original bayonet, it's a repro. Excuse me. It's supposedly a fairly accurate representation of the original. The problem is that the last time I looked, these bayonets were extremely expensive, and I just didn't have it in me to pay more for this little spike than the entire cost of the rifle cost me back 30 plus years ago. So I never bought an original, but you know, so who knows, maybe I'll run into one someday. Anyway, it's supposed to be a fairly good representation, so we'll give it a whirl here. The only thing that's slightly different about this rifle than most is that, well, for one thing, this one has a bolt catch installed. It was a bolt catch that was involved, developed, I believe, by Mr. Johnson at the insistence, I think, of the authorities back then. So the bolt will remain open on the last shot, or it should anyway. Most of them. The unique thing about this is that you really don't have to have the bolt open to reload this rifle. In fact, that's one of the advantages over the M1 Garand, is that the rifle will, you can load it anytime, bolt open, bolt closed, whatever. You know, you just feed rounds in. You don't have to manipulate anything, and you can top the magazine off extremely easy, which is kind of a unique feature here. So I'm gonna set the camera down here and try to get set up, and we're going to try to shoot this thing first without the bayonet, and then we'll try it again with the bayonet. So here goes. My expert camera person ready to film, and so we're going to load up a few rounds here. If I can do this. Normally you'd use a stripper clip, but frankly I don't really care for stripper clips all that much. I tend to goof them up, cut my hands or cut my fingers or whatnot. So we got 5 rounds loaded in the chamber. You just or loaded in the magazine, excuse me. We're going to pull the thing back, chamber 1. This is the safety right here. And here we go. The rifle is not sighted in, so I mean, I haven't shot it in probably 10 years, so don't know where it's going to hit, but let's see how it functions. Well, that worked. Well, I hit one can, and that was it. So, thing is open. What I'm going to do now is attach the bayonet. Yeah. So, let's see here. There you go. It's kind of a ferocious looking bayonet, isn't it? Well, let me get a few more rounds and we'll give it a shot. Okay. Well, I am a klutz. 1. I guess the other thing about this rifle is that when you put the bayonet on here, I'm sure it changes the point of aim. Although this is not a video to measure that, it's just a video to see how it works. So, see if it will work with the bayonet attached. So, they're probably. As you can tell, I haven't shot it in a long time, and I'm fumbling around. But anyway. Let's give it a shot here, see what happens. Goes in the battery. Packs quite a punch. And guess what? The bayonet flew off. Tell you what, let's go ahead and shoot the rest of the rounds. I don't like messing around at the muzzle. I got a can. Well, the rifle is not holding open with the thing. Guess what? You can stop it, Susie. And we've got the bayonet hopefully firmly attached. Chamber around here. See what happens. Oops, safety's on. Now I got close to a can. Got him. And the bayonet's gone again. Did you notice whether it fell in the first shot or the second shot? Well, it made one shot, so we'll go ahead and empty the magazine and see what happens here. Now when it's shot, it's shooting just a little bit high. I think that's 5. I don't know why the bolt isn't holding open, but it's not. Anyway. Well, there you go. I'm not sure if it's the gun, it's the bayonet, the design, or the fact that it's a cheap aftermarket bayonet. So, anyway, thank y'all for watching. Bye. Hello. I'm back at, this is the day after I was out shooting my model 1941 Johnson, And I decided to make another little video to tack onto the end of the video from yesterday, basically to explain what happened with the bayonet falling off the rifle every time I shot it with a bayonet attached. And at first, I thought, didn't know what was going on. I thought perhaps maybe the bullet somehow was hitting the bayonet, or didn't really know. But anyway, no, that was not the problem. What I found out, and hopefully this will come through, is that what I'm doing here is I'm attaching the bayonet to the end of the rifle. And what I found out was no matter how far I push it on, the spring-loaded latch will not lock behind the locking lid. So essentially it's just a friction fit. So every time I shot the rifle, the recoil would, the bayonet would fly off the end of the barrel. So anyway, that didn't work, and so just wanted to explain that. Also, I realized there was a couple of things about this rifle I probably should have mentioned. Probably the most significant is the fact that the barrel is easily detachable from the rifle. All you really have to do is to press this pin pin here in the side of the stock, and this little lever will fall down. Either that, or you have to knock the hit the top of the handguard with your hand a little bit, and it'll fall free. And once it falls down, all you have to do is unlock the bolt from the end of the barrel, and the barrel will easily slide out. And reattaching it's just the opposite of that. Very, very easy to do. And anyway, once the barrel is out, what you'll notice is that and hopefully you can see this, is that the chamber of this barrel of the Johnson rifle kind of resembles to some extent an AR-10 or an AR-15 chamber. The fact is, the bolt and the corresponding chamber or a multi-lug affair, very similar to the AR-15 or AR-10. Anyway, it is similar in regards, and I think to some extent the developers of the AR-10, AR-15 system got the idea from the Johnson rifle, or from Mr. Johnson. Anyway, the other thing about this rifle I did mention yesterday is the unique magazine, this 10-round rotary magazine, which is very easy to top off, with rounds, either via use of a 03 Springfield stripper clip or just loading it singly. Now, whether this is a huge advantage over the Garand or not is, I guess, somewhat debatable. I personally not sure if it's that much of an advantage. You can top off the rounds in an M1 Garand, not as easily as this, but the fact of the matter is that a trained soldier, once he expends all 8 rounds in the in-block clip that the Garand uses, I mean, a trained soldier can replenish that or load another clip remarkably quickly, probably faster than you can plug 10 rounds into this thing, even with the use of stripper clip. So, that advantage, is in combat maybe not as significant as one might think otherwise. Anyway, it is an interesting rifle. It's a fun rifle to shoot. Of course, the M1 Garand is also. And occasionally I'm asked whether I consider this a better rifle or the Garand, and certainly no expert, but my sense is that the M1 is probably overall a better battle rifle. Maybe it's because I'm just more used to it and shot it more. It just feels right to me. But and perhaps if this had gone into more widespread service, it never was officially adopted by the U.S. military. If it had gone into, it might have been modified to some degree, for certain situations and everything. So it's really hard to tell, and I'm not going to say that one is significantly better than the other. But I've enjoyed the rifle over the years, even though I haven't shot it that much. It's interesting. It's good, and so I like it. And that's pretty much it. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and thank you for your time. Bye.